Hey, what's up, guys? It's Coach Takes. Remember at DFW Penguin Basketball, penguinhoops.com. Hey, I haven't done a video in a while, but okay, I want to talk about something that I've kept a secret for a while. Okay, as you guys know, I don't have any children. Not yet, at least. I got time. But one of my buddies asked me a really good question the other day, and I already kind of had this in mind, but I really wanted to put it on paper and put it on video. And he asked me, hey, Coach Takes, if you had a kid, whether it be male or female, that played basketball, played sports, but they're gonna probably play basketball, how would you parent them as a sports coach? And I think that's a great question. Like, how would I go about coaching them? How would I go about parenting them? How would I go about handling coaches? How would I go about motivating them? How would I go about teaching them how to be a good athlete or an athlete that's better than me? So I have a list of about 7 things, and I'm going to tell you, I'm trying to go through them as quickly as possible. I may not go into too big of detail, and I have a couple of secrets when I do have a child and they actually are playing sports. I have a couple of secrets of how I'm going to do things that nobody's ever done before. But not going to give you everything, I'm just going to tell you my opinion on things, all right? The number one thing I'm going to do if I do have a sports child as a parent, a sports parent, I'm going to give them all the opportunities in the world. Once they're interested in a sport, no matter what sport it is, hopefully it's basketball because I love basketball, but I'm going to give them all the opportunities and resources that I can possibly to help them out, but I'm not going to push them too hard. But I'm also going to leave the door open for them to do all these extra things, for me to push them. So one thing that a lot of parents do, when they see a little potential in their child, or they had a sports type of career at some point and they have a kid, they push their kid to be better than them. And what some parents don't realize is that their kid does not want to be that great. They're not that interested in the sport as they are, but they're trying to do it. They're trying to satisfy their parent by playing well and doing all these workouts and training sessions and stuff. And a lot of parents, they just totally overlook that their kid is not into it as much. Now, so every kid has different things. Some kids, they don't want to play it as much, and then when they start to get competitive and they want to get better, and their peers are either pushing them or making fun of them or something like that, they want to play more. And some kids just have it in them naturally, and they want to work out, and they beg their parents for extra workouts and stuff like that. You can't get the ball out of their hand. You can't get the baseball bat out of their hand. You can't get the soccer ball off their feet. They're always trying to play. So one thing I would do is just, I would push a little bit, but I wouldn't push too hard. But I would always leave the door open for them to work out. Like, hey, you had a pretty bad game today. You didn't shoot too well. If you want to get out in the gym and do some work, let me know. You want to get in the backyard? Let me know. Hey, your trainer, he's got some sessions open. I talked to him the other day. Let me know if you want to do them, but I'm not going to press him and make him go or make her go and work out, if that makes sense. Number 2, I will be okay with them making mistakes, and I will trust the process of them making these mistakes and then making them better, especially if I know. I've been around basketball a long time. I can tell if a coach is good at developing kids or not. So if I had a coach that, my kid started off slow, he was probably like the 8th man on the bench, and I personally felt that they probably could start, I would just trust the process of my kid getting better, making mistakes and stuff like that, and I would let them make mistakes. I wouldn't, wear them out on a car ride home every night. Every time they turn the ball over, they lost a game. I would probably talk to them about it, kind of feel them out and see how they felt about it, but I would just trust the process of them getting better. It's a little bit different for me because I come from a sports background, so I kind of know what to look for, and I'm a coach myself. But for most parents that aren't into sports, they don't really know what to look for. But the main thing I would do personally would just trust them making mistakes, and just know that it's a growing process to getting better. Like, it takes mistakes and you learning from them to get better at anything. Repetition, like I said all the time, builds skill, right? So, you can learn from the mistakes, or you can have success from certain things, certain situations, and you get better. So, number 3, I would not let them quit just because they're having a bad season or a bad few games, or they're not doing well. A lot of parents these days, when their kid is facing adversity or having a tough time, they automatically resort to quitting. And that's something that I learned a long time ago. Like, at the end of the day, even if you're having a bad season, bad game or whatever, it could always turn around. Now, quitting in the middle of the season, I think of that as you letting your kid quit in the middle of the season is just teaching them to quit in life. You know, you want to kind of finish the season out before you quit. Now, if it's a bad situation, the kid is just really bad, or they can't play, or they can't compete at a certain level, you know, you want to let them finish it out, to tough it out, and let them know that quitting is not always the way out. A lot of people, not only in sports, not only in, like, a lot of people just quit in life when something gets rough. You see all this COVID-19 stuff going on, and you know, I think about myself being in a predicament that I'm in as far as being a coach, and you know, I haven't quit. A lot of coaches that have ball clubs, they've quit on their club. Like, they just kind of like, oh, okay, people don't want to play, I just quit. I'll wait till everything is over. Nah. You gotta tough it out, and it builds character. All right. Number 4, okay, I would never automatically point the finger at the coach when things aren't going right with my kid. I would communicate with my kid, see what's going on, and then I would talk to the coach to get an understanding, and come to the coach from a point of trying to get an understanding rather than just pointing a finger. A lot of times kids, especially when it comes to school ball, you know, parents aren't around to see what goes on in practice. So a kid can come home and, you know, and tell their parent whatever, but the coach could easily have a reason as to why they're not playing the kid as much, because of their behavior. It could be because of their play at practice. It could be because of their lack of focus. All different types of things. So me being a coach myself, I totally understand that. A lot of parents have never coached or even played sports at a high level, so it would be hard for them to understand, which is cool. But if I had a kid, I would automatically check my kid first when they come to me complaining about how the coach is handling a certain situation. And then when I do actually speak to the coach, I would talk to the coach from a point of trying to gain an understanding of what's going on. All right. Number 5, okay. The number 1 thing I would teach my kid as far as skill-wise is learning how to shoot and be a great shooter. Guys, there are only two guys on a team. There's 2 spots on the team where they're always going to need these 2 type of guys on the team, no matter what it is. Every team is going to always need a guy that can shoot and a tall guy. You'll always be able to be in the fold if you're extremely tall as a basketball player, and if you can shoot, guys. It's a bunch of guys that can do everything in between. But if you can shoot, make free throws, or if you're tall, you can rebound and block shots, okay, you will always have a spot on the team, and everybody's not going to be tall. You know, I'm 6'6" myself. If I end up having a child or get married to someone or whatever it may be, to a woman that's 5'2", it's not a guarantee that the kid is going to be as tall as me or taller. But one thing that kid is going to be able to do is shoot the crap out of the ball. So that's one thing that I will focus on with my child, is shooting. Number 6, very important. I will understand and be realistic on my kid's skill level and ability to play a sport. Like, I've been around it a long time. It's a little bit different for me, but I would know if my kid couldn't play. I would know if my kid was playing on a team where everybody was better than them. I would know if my kid was just a role player. I would know if my kid was better than everyone. You know? But I would be totally realistic on what their role is, and I would try to get them to be a star in their role on the team and understand that you're not going to always be the best player on your team. Point blank, period. So I would be extremely realistic with my kid, extremely realistic with my child's mother on what my kid's identity is as a player. And number 7, this is really, really good. Okay, I will communicate with the coach if my kid is having a hard time or an issue, and I wouldn't be ashamed or embarrassed to tell a coach. You know, if my kid is having a hard time with making free throws, and my kid is having a hard time with handling how he coaches them, getting on them a little bit too much, or if my kid is is being afraid to play against tough competition, I would have no problem with communicating that with the coach and letting them know what's going on so they can make the proper adjustments as a coach to suit my kid and help them out. Because a lot of times, guys, I'll be honest with you guys, I've had so many different situations with kids where, you know, I talk to the parents come and talk to me and tell me what's going on, and I have a 3-minute conversation and it goes totally away. And this is an issue that might have been bothering this kid for a month or months, you know. But a lot of parents are ashamed or they're afraid to go and tell the coach because they didn't want their kid to be embarrassed, or they didn't want to be embarrassed as a parent that their kid is having a certain issue personally, whether it be at home, whether it be at school, that's bothering them and hindering them from playing well as a player. So that's the last thing on my list. I would really be realistic with the coach, and I wouldn't be afraid to tell them that, hey, you know, my kid is struggling at school because he's getting bullied, and it's a kid on the team that's kind of reminds him of the bully at school, stuff like that. So it's a lot of different situations. Don't want to get too deep, but that is number 7. That's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you think. Hey, like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend. And those are my 7 things that I would do if I had a kid playing sports. All right, I'll see you guys later.